And our design challenge is to create a sense of purpose and a sense of self for each and every student. My name is Barbara Seisel. I'm a first grade teacher.
I'm Loretta Torres Earth.
Min In, first grade teacher and parent.
Barbara Berman, principal.
And George Saunders, I teach first grade.
All right, so here we are, our school context. We have 341 students at our school site. 55% are English language learners. But we did the surveys and we found that our school-wide self-efficacy is about 55%. Yet for our English language learners, it was in the 40s. The same thing with the growth mindset. We found that the school-wide it's 66%, but English for English learners, it's 54% favorable. An additional context about our school is that our third grade team have the personalized learning environment pilot, and it's been really innovative and very exciting to see. And it's focused on leveraging technology and the physical environment to design for our historically underserved students. Our why. Our why is that at Tenderloin, a significant portion of the students come from historically underserved subgroups such as African Americans, Latinx, English language learners. And current systems are not supporting their learning in attaining the graduate profile competencies. There's also a lack of access to opportunity to the digital literacy skills that will prepare our students not only for the short term, but as well as the long term. As some grade levels have progressed further with effective integration, not all have, and that is our goal, is that more of an all-school advancement. And here we are. We put our heads together and came up with our challenge. At Tenderloin, we seek to design in service of our African Americans, our Latinx, and our English language learners. We want to know how leveraging digital portfolios can empower each and every student in developing the graduate profile competencies of sense of purpose, sense of self. Our goal is to make all identified best practices we discover transparent, visible, and engaging in order to further collaboration and opportunity across kinder to fifth grade, all grade levels.
So we went on, So we went through the discovery audit, and we landed on some guiding questions that would drive our discovery phase. So our guiding questions were: what are best practices in creating digital portfolios to build student agency? How do we identify best practices? And how do we make best practices visible, transparent, and engaging in order to design for scale on our site? So we went on this very ambitious discovery plan, and we interviewed a digital portfolio expert from our district. Attended our tech conference in Vegas. We visited Sheridan in a K-1 environment that has already implemented flexible seating and tech use. And then we conducted empathy interviews with our students who unanimously all said that they enjoyed learning with technology and were very engaged with it. We did a virtual shadowing student, my son. We also observed our third grade class that implemented this personalized learning and saw a lot of uplifting among peers and collaboration with that one-on-one technology.
So the key insights that emerged from our discover phase were that best practices require explicit and intentional routines. Our second insight was that technology can be integrated into curriculum and that there are strategic approaches to building student agency with digital portfolios. Our third insight was that there are existing rubrics and resources that will allow us to implement best practices and scale at our school site. And then our final insight was that student agency and growth mindset are key for our historically underserved students. So our insights turned into 7 how might we statements, and we brainstormed many solutions for each statement based on our Discover work and voted on our top solutions, which we placed on an impact difficulty matrix in order to ensure we weren't exploring luxurious solutions, but rather strategic and high impact solutions.
Which led to a prototype where we reimagined student and teacher experience. And the prototype evolved.
So with all of this, we came up with our theory of improvement. If we provide students with access to technology and facilitate opportunities for student-designed digital portfolios, then students will experience design for an authentic audience and immediate feedback loops, developing a growth mindset, thereby empowering all students, especially our African American, Latinx, English learners, with increased agency and efficacy in their learning, so that we can identify best practices in transformative use of technology to better design for our historically underserved subgroups and make these practices transparent, visible, and engaging in order to further collaboration and opportunity across grade levels, so that ultimately, every day we provide each and every student the quality instruction and equitable support required to thrive in the 21st century.
Looking at the graduate profile as what will provide our students with the competencies they need to be successful, our theory is really focused on students developing a sense of purpose and a sense of self. And our prototype focuses on developing the skills within the sense of purpose, sense of self competencies such as self-awareness and growth mindset.
Now, here's our plan. We want to provide one-to-one technology access to students. We want to build in explicit routines for how to powerfully leverage technology while constantly incorporating student input and ownership. We conduct student interest surveys through Seesaw, where we can memorialize this work and where we can design for student ownership of learning. We keep academic language at the forefront of all lesson design and leverage Seesaw as a tool to promote increased voice. We will have feedback loops to begin. Well, feedback loops will begin to be part of a regular routine, and students have agency and choice in the process and product of the learning. Step 3, teachers will collaborate and use existing rubrics to reflect in ways that we are leveraging technology and provide transformative learning experiences that promote sense of purpose, sense of self in all students. Step 4, students use rubrics and exemplars to self-assess, provide increased ownership of learning. Students will maintain digital portfolios and engage in feedback loops that promote a growth mindset. And the innovation team will share experiences in our school Google Classroom with the Tenderloin staff to begin to practice scale. And our step 5 is that we'll have family education nights to help parents learn the features of tech-enabled learning. And step 6, students will lead conferences during our portfolio night, which we usually have at the second period of our conferences. And step 7, students reflect on their skills within the sense of purpose, sense of self-competency of the graduate profile. Teachers continue to collaborate and reflect on development of these skills, especially with focal students. And innovation team continues to share best practices as evidenced by student artifacts, reflections, and the technology integration matrix in a way that is transparent, visible, and engaging to support all teachers at Tenderloin School in shifting practice to promote student agency and ownership. And as you heard my prototype, this is our timeline, and we have set measures to see how we are doing with the different parts of our plan. And here's our budget. We want one-to-one access for iPads. We also want to provide a Chromebook station where we could have 8 Chromebooks per class, because that's the technology they're going to be using in the upper grades. And yeah.
Okay, so to connect back to our why, it's critical that we provide our students with access and opportunity that will build their sense of purpose and sense of self. And then the next slide is students. We now have our Generation Z and Gen Alpha. Next slide. These are students who will need to outpace artificial intelligence for jobs. So we need to prepare them with the competencies they need to be successful and ready. And I have every confidence that our team will implement this. It's an amazing team. And we want to end with student voice.
I think technology at school because it makes me learn more and give me more technology in my brain and more information. At school because I like technology at school because I like to show my mom what I'm learning. At school because it makes me learn. I like to do technology at school because I like to be cool.